Welcome to Mister Biz Radio, biz talk for biz owners. If you're ready to stop faking the funk and take your business onward and upward, this show is for you. And now, here's Mr. Biz, Ken Wentworth.
All right, welcome to another episode of Mr. Biz Radio with me, Mr. Biz, Ken Wentworth. And this week we're going to talk about something that I know, I have to admit, I probably suffer from this more often than I care to admit, but I know everyone deals with it, at least from talking with folks, my family, friends, colleagues, coworkers, etc. And that is the notion of self-sabotage, of that little inner voice that holds you back. And sometimes you probably don't even realize how much it is holding you back. And we're going to talk about that, how to get out of your own way. And we've got an absolute expert to talk to us this week. Jennie Potter is joining us, and she is the best-selling author of Self-Sabotage No More. She's a speaker and a coach, an expert at helping people identify and remove the hidden emotional blocks that hold them back from living their best lives. She is passionate about identifying intangible ways to release and move through limiting beliefs, emotions, fear, and negative mindsets. Jennie, welcome to Mr. Biz Radio.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been looking forward to this because this is one of those things, and I'm probably preaching to the choir on this one, but I think I can speak for myself at least. I think it impacts, and I think I'm actually pretty decent at identifying this and have some decent self-awareness now. But I'm absolutely sure that, especially earlier in my life, that I was self-sabotaging way more than I even recognized and gave it, credit for, I guess I'll say. And I know a lot of people are dealing with that as well. So I knew this was a topic that would really resonate with tons of different people. Again, you don't have to be an entrepreneur or business owner necessarily. This impacts everybody. And so I'm really looking forward to talking with you this week. Before we kind of dive into that, so we're going to talk about this, and we actually, as we get into probably the third segment, we're going to talk about Jennie's alarm method to really help us with this. But before we get into all that, Jennie, tell us a little bit about your career, your entrepreneur journey, if you would.
For sure, yeah. So I'm no stranger to self-sabotage. I kind of went the extreme sabotage way. And I want to mention that sabotage can be very extreme and obvious, but also it can be quiet. It can look like procrastination or tomorrow, well, I'll do it tomorrow, that kind of thing. And usually we know the tangible things to do, but we don't do them and why. And so I'm an entrepreneur. I have been for many years now. And before that, I had a counseling practice. And so what I noticed when I started working specifically with entrepreneurs was that they all knew what to do, but they weren't doing it. And so why? And why do some people just say, okay, and do the thing, and they have the success and they work hard and they're consistent, and other people know the things to do and they don't do them. So that kind of started my passion. A few years ago, I got really passionate at diving into what causes people to self-sabotage. And, with my background in counseling and lots of different coaching modalities and healing modalities, I started to explore. And what I discovered was something kind of cool that affects all of us, which is emotions. And not just emotions, but emotions we haven't dealt with in the past. There's a few variables, not just emotions, though. When we talk about the alarm method later, I'll show you how to deal with those unprocessed emotions. There's also like autopilot. We show up the same way and do the same thing every day because we're kind of designed that way. Like our brain likes to save energy and do habitual things. And a couple other variables, but the one that I found so exciting because it's very once you know, and then you can change it, and you can change your behavior almost on a dime once you can identify it. So was the emotions. That was like the most right in front of me, but so surprising thing that I discovered.
So what led you from, going from the counseling to really focusing in on this? Was it just you were seeing this over and over and thinking, man, this is really something I want to dive into a little deeper?
Well, my journey was counseling. Then I found network marketing. So I was building like a business. And if you've ever done network marketing, and if you have listeners that are network marketers, it's not an easy task. And then I started coaching network marketers on how to build a business. And so I guess, what took me from there was I love exploring why people show up the way they do. And then I had to show up as an entrepreneur and be a certain way to be successful. And then when I started coaching others to do that, I just noticed that there was this theme of people knowing what to do, but not doing it. And so sabotage looks different as well. Sometimes we know what not to do and do it. But often with entrepreneurs, it's the first one, the knowing what to do, but not doing it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's one of those things, like I mentioned at the outset, is I know, at least for me personally, is especially when I was younger, I guess as I got older and started to realize it, and I look back and thought, man, there's so many things that I had been doing that were a form of this self-sabotage they weren't necessarily overt things, but the accumulation of those things really had a negative impact overall. And some of it's just the consistency and like you had mentioned, the autopilot aspects of things, of just kind of fallen into a routine, and I mean, dare I say, a rut in some situations where it's not something positive. That's how you do things, and you keep going. And so shaking those things up, I think, even now, I find that pretty compelling to snap out of some of those things and change up your routine. I do silly things like, and my wife makes fun of me for this, but like, I don't drive the same way to my office every day. I get bored. Like, I want to try different routes and I want to go different ways. There's only so many different ways to get to my office from our house, but I don't go the same way every day. I don't, just silly things like that to just change up the routine a little bit.
Yeah, so that's not silly, that's profound. Most people will go the same way every single day. And it's when we start exploring new routes, like even brushing your teeth with the other hand.
Yep.
Just showing up differently, making your brain think about what you're doing and exploring. It'll just trigger new ways of thinking, creativity, and trying on. It also makes you more open to trying on new things as well. So sometimes there'll be opportunity right in front of them, but they won't see it because they look this way, they do this thing, what I call sabotage filters, where people have like kind of a filter setting and they only let in a certain amount. So you're letting in new routes, new ways to explore and discover. When people read books, you're opening up to a new viewpoint, a new way of thinking, and or listening to audibles or listening to this show. Listening to different speakers show up, and I'm not surprised you drive different ways to work because, you're interviewing different people all the time that are sharing new ideas, new concepts. And so, yeah, it's really, really important that you try and identify and get out of the autopilot when you can.
Yeah, for sure. And, the brushing my teeth, I'm right-handed, brushing my teeth with my left hand. I do that. And honestly, I don't do it all the time because I'm afraid I'm going to get too good at it and it'll lose some of its impact. And trust me, I got a long way to go because brushing my teeth with my left hand is nowhere near my right. But
it's different. It's awkward.
Yeah, for sure. And I read tons of books. And the other thing is the benefit, like you mentioned with this show, is being able to talk to a bunch of other people. So we're going to hit a break here. We'll come back talking with Jennie Potter after the break, learning more about how she helps folks.
If you would like to reach hundreds of thousands of business owners every week, Mister Biz Radio can help. Our show airs globally 7 days a week for more than 25 hours across several internet radio stations, plus 20 plus podcast platforms. Also, video exposure on the new exclusive Mr. Biz Network streaming channel, which gets blasted to 100 plus streaming platforms, and the Mr. Biz YouTube channel, and our 350,000 social media followers multiple times every week. Join Mr. Biz Nation as an advertiser by emailing us at info@MrBizSolutions.com.
Attention, Mr. Biz Nation. We have an exclusive offer just for you. Get lifetime access to scarcity countdown timers and logic links for only $69. Yes, you heard it right. Only $69. These tools will add urgency to your email campaigns and website pages, helping you increase conversions, sales, and capture more leads. Don't miss this incredible opportunity. Visit getpulstools.com now and take your business to new heights.
Got a question for Mr. Biz you want answered on air? Email it to info@MrBizSolutions.com. Now, once again, here's Mr. Biz.
All right, welcome back to the show again, talking this week with Jennie Potter. You can find out more on her website, JenniePotter.com, or also you can follow her on Instagram. So I was looking during the break because I couldn't remember, and I didn't have my notes, and I can't believe I didn't do it. It just hit me as we were talking in the first segment. One of the reasons, honestly, that we wanted to cover this topic and reached out to you to have you on the show is I read a book, I listened to a book actually 2 times because it was profound enough. It was by Nick Hall. I couldn't remember. I knew the title. I couldn't remember who the author was, but Nick Hall. And the title of the book is "I Know What to Do, So Why Don't I Do It?" And so it was super interesting to me because, again, it talks, I think, a lot of very similar type things that what you're talking about now. And the other thing that made it cool, I'll be honest with you, Jennie, he has a British accent, so you always sound cooler and smarter with British accent, right? Funny side note to that, when I'd written my first book, someone offered to do the Audible version for me, and he sent me a sample, and he had a British accent, and I thought, oh my gosh, my book sounds so much better when he reads it as opposed to me. But I talked to some people, and they're like, no, you have a radio show, people are used to your voice. It would sound inauthentic to have someone else, do the Audible version. But anyway, I wanted to mention that because that was one of the things that triggered us looking for someone like yourself to come on and talk about these things because, it's just so important, like I said. So Jennie, what does it look like? I mean, what's a typical person that comes to you for help, and what's that look like, the engagement with you?
Yeah, so the typical person, although this stuff, these unprocessed emotions do affect every area, health, wealth, relationships, career, all the things are affected by the unprocessed emotions that I touch on in the book, but really, and the autopilot, the filter settings, all the things, but mainly I work with entrepreneurs, and I work with entrepreneurs that are already pretty successful, but wanting to take their business or their earnings or their team size or their business to the next level. Maybe there's a rank they can't achieve or a promotion that they're having trouble achieving, or maybe they've hit that kind of top but they're not feeling fulfilled. So working with entrepreneurs to shift their behavior and mindset around finances so that the finances will follow, or the team size will follow. And so, yeah, so that's the typical person. Like, the 2 things that come up the most, one is that someone has hit a financial set point, what I call a set point. So they're earning kind of the same amount every single month and they can't seem to break through that. And then the other is procrastinating about certain things, whether it's posting on social media or prospecting or speaking on stage or writing their book that they know they need to write, that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's like a typical.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So is there have you found that there's like 1 or 2 things that are that you see that, most people come to you that's, I shouldn't say most people, that of the people who come to you, are there maybe 1 or 2 things that are just the most common thing that you say, man, you mentioned this too, but are there things that, I mean, I don't want to get too much into the alarm method because I want to talk about that a little bit later, but are there things that, people can be doing now, or maybe they're doing now and they don't even realize they're doing it, it's their subconsciously, and maybe, again, some of these filters and autopilots you're talking about?
Yeah, so usually before we're 12, we've decided what the world is like and what's going to happen for us. So I always say our autopilot destination. So we've already decided where we're going to land. And so the first thing is just kind of going manual, getting out of autopilot and noticing, what do I think is possible for me? What do I think is not possible for me? And what do I want? Like, what do I want to create, or what would be cool? I always say, what would be dreamy? If we waved a magic wand, what would we delete? What would we add? And so that's usually where we start. What's most common is that people usually have that idea of who they are before the age of 12. And so an example would be they have shame around something that happened, and that shame holds them back from that next level, or from running for that goal, or from believing that they can achieve whatever the thing is.
Yeah, so I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds to me, at least some of these things can become almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
100% is. We do fulfill our prophecies. And so are you speaking out that everything amazing happens to me? Or are you speaking out that everything bad happens to me? Or what do you say on a daily basis? I always say to people, like, are you telling everyone you're a plant killer? Or I used to always proclaim that. And then I realized, well, no, I'm just not a plant waterer. So I shifted. I was like, can I keep this plant alive? Yes, I can. But when we speak out, we tell people all the time who we are. So when you first meet someone and you're telling them who you are, notice what you're saying. Are you saying you're a hot mess? There's so many people who identify with like the hot mess mama kind of brand, or are you telling people you're never organized, or you never get things done, or you're always the kind of person who, or, what are you declaring? Are you someone who always finds the best parking spot, or are you someone who never finds a parking spot? Because our filter, we all have what's called an RAS filter. It's reticular activating system, and we let in 4 things. And so your brain will let in 4 things. 1 is a loud noise or danger. 2 is your name. So if you hear, that's why you hear your name in a crowd, your brain will let your name in or block out other noises. 3 is when someone wants to get romantic with you. And I always joke and say that's duplication. But the 4th is whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're declaring. So the 4th we have control over. What are you setting your filter to? Are you setting your filter to, I notice opportunities all the time? Or are you setting your filter to nothing good ever happens to me? Yeah. So I would say the filter setting is huge for the self-fulfilling prophecy, because you could walk right by or drive right by a good parking spot if you spend your life declaring that you never find a good parking spot. So so I would say that whatever you want to experience, start declaring that you already do, and you'll see a shift, and it will feel like magic, even if it's not.
And it sounds a little bit corny and a little bit far-fetched, but I went through some of this when I read The Secret, several years ago. And the whole aspect of that, and even outside of the manifestation piece of it, is if you really, and I kind of did a little test with myself, like, as you said, if you're looking for something, if you're letting in that third or fourth, I think you said, filter of what you allow in is you're just looking for bad stuff, you're going to find more bad stuff, because you're going to, I know myself, like, you're having a bad day and it's like, well, now, my day's crappy. I'm having a crappy day. Well, now you just start looking for things to fit that paradigm that you're having a crappy day, as opposed to, hey man, I got a flat tire on the way here. That stinks, but I got all the bad stuff out of the way. Like, the rest of my day is going to be amazing. I think that shift in mindset makes such a huge difference. We're going to hit a break here. Again, talking with Jennie Potter, jenniepotter.com. I'm back after the break to learn about the alarm method.
How would you like to have direct access to Mr. Biz to help you run your business more profitably and more efficiently? At MrBizSolutions.com, you get live access to not only Mr. Biz, but also several of his hand-picked and trusted business experts, each with 20 plus years of experience to help you optimally manage and grow your business. That's just the start of where Mr. Biz Solutions begins. Learn more at MrBizSolutions.com. That's MrBizSolutions.com.
Attention, Mister Biz Nation. We have an exclusive offer just for you. Get lifetime access to scarcity countdown timers and logic links for only $69. Yes, you heard it right. Only $69. These tools will add urgency to your email campaigns and website pages, helping you increase conversions, sales, and capture more leads. Don't miss this incredible opportunity. Visit getpulstools.com now and take your business to new heights.
Check out all 3 of Mr. Biz's best-selling books at MrBizBooks.com. Now, once again, here's Mr. Biz.
All right, welcome back to the show, and it is payoff time. We're going to talk about what Jennie has developed as the alarm method. So tell us what that is, Jennie, and how we can use it.
Okay, so the alarm method, there are several methods to identify emotion that are causing you to procrastinate or not do the things that you know you need to do or want to do, but don't do. And this can be anything from you know that going for a walk is good for you, and yet every day you don't go for that walk, that kind of thing. Or you choose like, okay, I'm not going to eat any sugar today, and then you go and eat a gallon of ice cream. To working on your business, procrastinating around posting social media or taking photos or whatever the thing is that you're avoiding. So let's just say we're talking about procrastination, though this could really be anything. Procrastinating about reaching out to a few new people and asking them if they're open to working with you. And so let's just say that you know you need to do that daily, but you're not doing that daily. The first thing I would say to you is awareness, which is the A. So alarm is an acronym. So A is the first letter, and that's awareness. So again, there's what we're wanting to be aware of is the emotion that was somewhere along the way got caught. It got stuck in processing. Okay. And so we want to identify what that emotion is and clear it so that you can move forward. And so very briefly, what an emotion actually is, because a lot of people don't know this, is it's a vibration. So if you were to step out off the sidewalk onto the road and out of the corner of your eye, you saw something move quickly, your body would pulse fear. It would pulse, your kidneys would pulse the vibration of fear. Your body would experience fear. You would step off the curb, whole bunch of chemicals get released. This happens with any emotion. Different organs pulse different vibrations, and I could talk about that for an hour, but I won't. But it's really cool. Your body recognizes the vibration as love, as peace, as sadness, as anxiety, as fear, as shame, as guilt. Every vibration slightly different, some lower, some higher. And the higher emotions we enjoy, and they kind of bubble up and out like laughter. The lower emotions are not supposed to stick around, but we don't like the feeling of them, or we're not taught when we're kids how to deal with them. So we push them down. And so what we want to do is allow that pushed down emotion from years ago to rise up and out. So the first thing is you become aware. When I'm procrastinating, I feel, and it could be mad at myself, could be shame, could be guilt. Everybody's different. Could be anxiety, could be fear around reaching out to someone. So notice what you're feeling. So awareness is the first. L is for location, and that's where are you feeling that physically in your body. So let's just pretend you identified anxiety and you notice it's in your stomach. This is huge. Knowing where you feel emotions is actually really, really powerful. Most people, again, don't think about it. We talk about butterflies in our tummy, or I saw red, or, your chest was feeling a certain way. But we all feel, and we know we have an emotion because we feel it physically in the body. And so location is the next. The next one is asking yourself the question. So the next A in alarm is ask yourself the question, when have I felt this before? And so you may have a memory, and it might be something weird, like when you got bullied, or when you reached out to be a friend with someone and they didn't want to be your friend, or when a colleague was upset that you got a promotion and they didn't. So you'll feel like it's random, but it's probably not random. 9 times out of 10, it is the memory and the original emotion. So if you don't have a memory, that's okay. Just go to the next step. But if you do, just notice it. Be curious about it. Oh, when I ran for student council and didn't win. Okay. And so we notice we have anxiety. We've located where the anxiety is. We've asked the question, had the memory. The next step is the release. And so to release that unprocessed emotion, that original emotion or the current emotion you're experiencing, relax that area of your body that so we'll relax our stomach in this example. And then you can use my unpacking method, which is just a shoulder to wrist, almost like you're wiping off cobwebs, like you walked through cobwebs and you're wiping your arms with the intention that you're releasing anxiety, releasing anxiety, releasing anxiety. So it's literally a relax, a welcoming of the emotion. You release it. You can physically do it with your arms. There's reasons why this works, but we won't go into it for timing purposes. And then the last letter of alarm is your mantra. So replacing whatever that anxiety is with an emotion that you want to feel: motivated, excited, calm, peaceful, but a different, we're going to pack in a new feeling. So we'll just speak out that mantra. I am motivated. I am motivated. I am motivated. I am confident. I'm confident. I'm confident. Something like that. So that is a very brief version of the alarm method. It sounds, it's simple, but it's very effective, and it will help you release the old emotions that are holding you back from taking that next action, that next step.
Of those 5 steps, Jenny, are there any particular steps that people have the most difficulty sort of overcoming or moving through?
So, excuse me. So usually people have trouble with the locating, if there's trouble with any of them. Other than that, like some people just can't feel, they're like, I just don't know where I feel it. They don't know how they feel the emotion. Most people can though. But in general, I would say that this is probably one of the most simple methods. There's other methods. You can muscle test. There's all kinds of techniques to discover the emotion, but this is the simplest, is just identifying it. And you kind of can't do it wrong. So the releasing is kind of the relaxing and the welcoming. That's a little bit of practice. Like, okay, I'm going to relax my stomach. I'm going to welcome anxiety, because most of us, we don't want to welcome anxiety or anger or sadness because we're afraid of it. It doesn't feel good. So I would say that would be the next thing, is just like the welcoming, the relaxing into. But what you'll find is when you welcome an emotion, it just kind of gets loud for a second and then it's gone. Just like steam from a pot. It's just like lifting a lid, steam from a pot. It's gone. And it's gone for good. So you can do this. You might have multiple emotions around a specific task, but once you've released those, you'll find that you just, oh, that was easy. Like I just did it. I decided to do that and I did it. And so, yeah, it's a really simple method that most people can apply pretty quickly. And I do have a free printout of that on my website.
Okay. Yeah, it would seem, especially too, it sounds, as you mentioned, a little bit counterintuitive to welcome anxiety, but I would also imagine that as you get in the practice of doing that, when you do experience anxiety, all of a sudden it doesn't have nearly the negative impact that it has in the past, because now you've welcomed it in the past, you've gotten through it. And so, I would imagine your body says, or your brain says, hey, we can get through this. We've done this, 50 times already. This is going to be okay.
Yeah. So there's just, once you acknowledge it's just a vibration, and it's not scary, that helps too. Some people are scared to do the work because they're afraid they're going to have a big emotional outburst. And once in a while, someone will feel extremely emotional after a release, but most of the time it just feels like a relief, like, oh, okay, that's gone. Yeah, the average adult has around 250 unprocessed emotions, which is a whole other conversation, but so most of us have a few.
Yeah, I can imagine. Geez Louise. Really good stuff here. We're out of time for this show here, but I want to mention again, JenniePotter.com. We'll put it in the show notes as well. You can follow her on Instagram as well. Jennie, I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on here, Ken.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a fantastic rest of your week. And don't forget, as always, cash flow is king.
To become part of Mr. Biz Nation, follow him on all social media platforms or never miss a show by going to MrBizRadio.com. If you prefer free video content, visit the Mr. Biz YouTube channel or check out his streaming channel, which is available on 100 plus streaming platforms at MrBizNetwork.com.